Hello Aquarius, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. So I'm trying to do a little shorter readings, preferable perhaps for everyone. I have already pre-shuffled your cards, Aquarius, and laid them out, and I think I have a story here for you. So actually I need to start from the bottom. And if I could do this, perhaps I can switch the camera so that you can see how the cards lay. It's actually the bottom, or the outcome card, or the result, you could say, of the reading, but I want to show you how it presents itself. So just bear with me here while I'm turning the camera here around so you can see it, right? Can you see the cards here like that? So at the bottom we have the woman holding a hand down here. If we see her, how she stands, it's like she has her back to something here, and it's like she's offering her heart to this side of the reading, you could say. And on the top we have a King of Fire here. So now I turn this back. I hope you will not be too dizzy. So now you see me again here. Well, I need to start with her here, because it's like the message I get is like a very devoted energy. It could be a feminine energy, or it definitely has to do with emotions, what you feel about love for people, right? And usually I read this card as someone who has tried, tried maybe several, you would say, partnerships or love relationships or something, but it seems a little bit like every time there's, like there's taken a bite of this heart, and in the middle there's a big one, right? And every time that happens, it's like she becomes a little more cautious. She still offers her heart, but she's a little bit more cautious about it. And she turns her back to something that she doesn't trust, that doesn't feel right to her. And the reason why I wanted to show you the cards is because what she did, it's like she actually holds the card towards this King of Fire that we have here. And the King of Fire is clarified with the Ace of Raphael here. So this is a very abundant king. A king that shines, right? The King of Fire would be like a Leo card. They could be the Sun card, right? Or the King of Wands. So a mature fire energy that shines. He shines very brightly here. He has a big heart here also. And it's accompanied or clarified with the Ace of Raphael here. And the Ace of Raphael talks about positive new emotional experience, fulfilling romantic relationships, and deep and lasting spiritual insights, right? So, and this card has been with me since the Virgo reading, where it got almost destroyed. I spilled a big cup of coffee over the table, and everything got wet and nasty, and like really I had to cut up the video and dry everything up before I could continue that message for Virgo. So, and it's like there has been this lingering of the Virgo destruction, you could say, since that time. Since that time, this card has somehow almost tipped out or been around or something, right? And because it's here now and she is leaning, you know, like she's leaning towards him, like she would, he was up here on the table, right? And she was down here. She was kind of turning away from something here and leaning towards wanting to offer him his heart here. And the reason for that is because she can somehow tune into that he has a positivity here, and there could be a positive, beautiful relationship here with someone. Therefore, I believe that she wants to give this to him, right? But there's more to this story here, because who is giving? Well, on the other side, we have the Queen of Water here, clarified with the lumen essence. So here we have a feminine energy that is watery. I see this one as, well, Queen of Cups is usually like an empath, very sensitive, can be emotional, but like a deep feeler. We see her sitting here, eyes closed. She is, she could be in meditation. She could sit in nostalgia here, thinking about the love that she really wants, right? The love that she really wants here. And the lumen essence here is like, look at what she does with her hands here. It's like she's creating this electricity. I see it a little bit like she's, what's that called? Sending electric waves to a heart that doesn't beat. Like reviving something, right? She's doing something when she stands in the water here, to revive or to heal or to send out a vibe. I feel like this could be her own heart, and she wants to send out a vibe, like a vibe to find someone who resonates with her heart vibration. When I look up this this card here, it talks about self-love, the light that radiates from our hearts, light shining in the darkness, heart-centered living, removing your heart armor, accepting your shadows as the flip side of your strength, a vulnerable, wide open heart, authentic, heartfelt needs. This is what she talks about. And it actually resonates quite well with the Queen of Water here, especially as an empath or a telepath or a someone who has very open senses and can absorb the energies around them or tune very well into them. So on one side we have this, I want to call her a bit of a high priestess. I see her a bit like that. When I was doing the pre-shuffle, I had the magician jump out, and that's how I see her. Like she has some kind of power to do something here, while she stands in this water. That is her field. It's definitely her field here. She works with consciousness, with emotions, with and we know that blood consists of water, right? We know the body consists very much of water. So I feel like she's probably also working with the body here, doing something that self-loving, because that's the first word that describes this card. She's choosing to do a lot of self-care and self-loving, having that, wanting to stand in that kind of vibration. That's what she's trying to do here. It also makes sense if she has endured something, that she's trying to heal this heart here. Knowing that knowing that at some point she may have done differently, right? And she has endured something here. If we look at it, I feel like it's carved out, like there's taken a bite of it, like heart-shaped bites here. So, and she has a big heart here, right? Also definitely goes with the Queen of Water here. So on one hand, we have this energy, and you are the water bearer, you are an air sign. I don't have any air here. So this has to do with something else. This has to do with, I want to go back to this card here and all the way back to the Virgo reading, because what I ended up with in the Virgo reading is that this card was almost destroyed in that reading. I had to kind of tape it together here, right, and repair it. But what it talks about is positive new emotional experience. This is like an Ace of Cups here, right? So the feeling that that ideas like this could not exist. Like these ideas here was like it was destroyed. The idea of positive new emotional experience, the idea of fulfilling romantic relationships, the idea of deep and lasting spiritual insights, it was kind of just cut in pieces, right, in the Virgo reading. And I had to dry it and tape it together, and like it feels like a broken heart that I'm trying to like put together again with tape on it, right, and bandages and everything. So, and I've talked about it in the readings after all the readings, or I guess more or less all the readings since the Virgo reading, that it's like I think we all carry this somehow. It's a knowledge that we all carry it. What I ended up with was for Virgo energy and thinking about love relationships, it has to be high octave. That's the Virgo energy. It always operates on like the most highest, not like, it's very virtuous. So there is almost this angelic, like or angel peace corps, white doves idea about it, right? It has this whiteness to it somehow, and the intention must be right, and like the highest best octave for all, and all this stuff. That's what the Virgo talks about. And if I think about love relationships, fulfilling love relationships, and the highest octave, I have to think about unconditional love. Like that's the highest octave of love vibrational frequency, at least what we can detect here on Earth in this dimension. But we don't know unconditional love. We know conditional love. Unconditional, that is quite something else. We don't really know that. None of us don't really know what it means exactly. We expect it sometimes from our parents, but sooner or later something happens where we get disciplined, or we get, something happened where our needs are not met. We are not considered perfect in other people's eyes. We are not loved all the time, right? Or accepted and all the time. Sometimes we have yin and yang here. We meet something else. And that is what I feel like got destroyed in the Virgo reading, right? That like the idea of unconditional love got destroyed. And it felt almost collective, like a collective energy that we all somehow, we all have a memory of this. Like either subconsciously, we just know that we can't just offer our heart out there like that, right? It's we can't be sure, right, that the other person will reciprocate. We can't be sure that it will be fulfilling. maybe a part will be fulfilled, but there will also be something else. And the other party, the person you are dealing with, they have their own agenda as well. They have their needs. And they expect you to meet them, right? So the idea of this unconditional, loving, fulfilling relationship is, there are so many things here that can destroy that. And again, it depends on who you are, right? For a Queen of Water here, who could be quite romantic, this could also almost be like a Cancerian energy. Cancer is the home, the fourth house, and mother energy, right? It could be very close and very intimate and very romantic and very like the two of us, kind of. But for you, Aquarius, that could maybe be too suffocating, right? So not all people like that kind of relationship. So the unconditional love has to be understood from each of the angles, you could say. Each of the angles must understand what unconditional love means for them. Right? Otherwise, we can't really understand what it means. So what works for you may not work for me, and the other way around, right? It is known that we have, that there are different love languages also that people use to express their love, to show this other person. But if it doesn't match what this other person is hoping for, the relationship will probably not work because the needs are not met. So a long-term relationship will not exist because it won't work, right? And I feel like someone has tried this, right? They have had a big hit here at some point, and it's right in the middle. So somehow, I don't know if we all have this, actually, that it's kind of embedded in all of us, that the unconditional love is like, that is a romance novel. Like the idea of living happily ever after, like that, it's fiction, right? That's not how life looks like. The prince and the princess get each other and get married or find each other or whatever after so much turmoil, and then the story ends and they lived happily ever after. But that's kind of the idea, that now everything is just peachy. But that's not how it is, right? That we know that life consists of so many other things than just the prince and the princess, right? There's work, there are children, there's other hobbies and friends and family, things that also need attention, that also needs to be done. If you are not a prince and a princess, then you have domestic chores, you have other kinds of stuff that needs to be done. It's not always peachy, right? So this is someone who has lived a normal life, I would say, and they have encountered different kinds of, you could say, relationships where she has more or less invested her heart. At once she invested her heart entirely, and she got a big hit here. And I don't know if that is like the memory that goes all the way back to the Virgo reading, the idea of the total fulfilling relationship. This idea that it's unconditional, it's always there, it will never stop, it is always present, we can almost take it for granted. And it always provides us what we need. That, like, thinking about that as an adult person, we would know that it's probably not quite like that. So what is the story about? I feel like on one hand here we have we have a Queen of Water here. And she's doing something. She's trying, I feel like, to raise her vibration up. She's trying to put love, like love herself. She wants like a higher frequency of love in her life. Because she's kind of tired of this, I think. She is, you know, it's like she's turning her back to that kind of dating, right? It's like it doesn't work for her, right? And you also too clever, Aquarius, right? It's either it's there or it's not there. But a relationship still needs to be worked on. It still needs to be like nurtured in some way, right? But it's definitely someone who may be fed up with like the dating scene. So she tries something else here. The King of Fire is a fiery king, of course. Look, he comes across, when I look at this, it seems a little bit like I wouldn't say angelic, right? But it has this like not like a halo, but something a bit like that. So this guy here, he has a lot of passion and fire and go-getter energy. He's funny, I think. Also fire energy here. He may be funny and wise and he has a big heart here also, right? And this king, he understands this. He's maybe even able to offer this unconditional love, which I just said is not possible. Right? That's what I feel like. This one, he is able to offer this. Or he represents what this was that got lost. Like he has something that is that puzzle piece that got destroyed somehow. That's why we all somehow carry this caution about relationships. At least when you get through the first one and it doesn't work out, you learn something, right? You learn something about, wow, this hurts, right? This is uncomfortable, or this is really bad. It's painful. You put your heart into something and it doesn't work. It's like here is someone who knows. He knows that, and he has a very beautiful heart here. I feel like quite passionate also. Look at the flames around it here, right? There's a lot of passion here. I feel like he has, with the glow here, could feel a little bit like charisma, right? He has this kind of this glow that kind of just shines the entire cosmos up here, right? And I want to say it's your opposite, Aquarius, because you are Aquarius and the opposite sign of you is Leo, and he could be a Leo, this one, right? So there is, in that connection, because you are opposites, there is some kind of magnetic pull from this Queen of Water here towards this one, right? It's like there is something about this one. I'm going to say that this is a special Leo, because not all Leos has this to offer in the perfect way, or in the highest octave way. They don't necessarily have it, all of them, right? This is a very mature, enlightened, I want to say, or awakened, enlightened Leo here. I would even go as far as saying it is, as I said, angel-like or angelic. She's quite imaginary, this one, right? It could be she's daydreaming about the perfect one. Maybe this is her creation here, like she's created this one in her mind, and he's able to offer this jolly good time, perfect, fulfilling relationship, deep insights. He's again a Leo that goes the awakening way, that take that path, that enlightens themselves. They can become like deeply spiritual and highly committed to a spiritual path. He has a long beard here, so I see him also, I wouldn't say like a monk, but it could be someone who is quite devoted to a path of, I don't know, prayer, or he could be a priest, this one. Like he could be, in some kind of spiritual sense, he could be a spiritual teacher, a priest maybe, a shaman, but it's like he has accepted a path of that. Like that is his path. And therefore he knows a lot about this. He's quite aware about this. Like this could be a guru, right? A guru who sits in India and has a lot of wisdom here, right? He's very skilled. He's learned or educated. He knows about all kinds of genres like philosophy and religion, and he knows about, because he has chosen that path. He comes across like I see him a bit like a Chinese wise elderly person, right? So we could have like a Buddhist or what's that called? The Tao. Someone who is very into, and now I see the yin and yang symbol, right? That is someone he's skilled in the knowledge of the balance of the world, and that's what his passion is, right? That's where his heart is. His heart is in the understanding of this, and I also feel like even though he's a fire sign, I think he's like quite what's that called? Like he's together, right? He's not all over the place, and he's quite calm. Most of these gurus are, right? They're kind of calm. They kind of sit there, and then they have all this wisdom that just comes out of them, right? This is the guy that I would say that even if a bomb blew up just beside him, he will probably just turn his head and look at it and not really. He knows about Akashic records, our temporary lives here. He knows that he will come back. He knows that he has been a teacher in other lifetimes as well, blah, 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 blah. He knows all this stuff. That's what I feel like he is. We could even say that he could represent God-like energy, Jesus. He could have a Jesus kind of vibe to him also, this guy, because he would stand with this, right? It's an all-covering love. An unconditional love would love every creation in the universe, good or bad, light or dark, or blue or green or whatever. It's an all-embracing love. It's so big that we can't even fathom it here on Earth with our egos. But this guy feels a little bit like he got that message. He understands. Maybe he has actually managed to heal his heart here. the one that was broken, right? The one that was almost destroyed here. Maybe he has actually managed to heal that. I took a few cards on this guy here because I wanted to know a little bit more about him, and I got the Soul Retrieval card, and then I got the Time Master, and this makes it even more interesting, this reading, because then I can't get around the fact that that I have to introduce Hecate. I don't know if you know about her, but she is a part of the triple goddess. She works with moon energies, and she's also the one Isis was consulting when she wanted to revive Osiris. Osiris was killed, and his body was like cut into pieces and just thrown all over Egypt. But Isis didn't, if you know about that myth, Isis wouldn't accept it, right? Because Osiris was her big love. He was the, like he was this for her, right? He was the one for her, right? And so she went on a journey to gather all these pieces of Osiris, and then she had to revive him, right? Reviving him means you take him out of the realm of the dead into the realm of the living, meaning that someone who has been on the other side is now coming back. And because he couldn't quite adapt to the living realm, he became the lord of the underworld. But she could still see him, right? She could still be with him, or at least somehow have a contact with him. I don't know exactly what's happening here, Aquarius, but what I'm saying is that with the Soul Retrieval card and the Time Master suggests that because something happened at some point, then it's done. So if someone died once, it's done. You can't do anything about it. The Time Master suggests, what if you could? What if you actually could bend time, go back and fetch him, right? And I want to say an Aquarius could think like this. Not many other people would, because they understand life as a linear thing. But what if time could be bended, or it's actually a cycle, or a repeating kind of loop of existence? Aquarius would understand this, and could probably maybe finding a way here to call for her love, right? I feel like this is quite specific, so either you recognize this or you don't, but the point is that it's trying to get in touch with this one. Trying to get in touch with an energy that has this quality to it, like a Jesus energy, or as I said, I see him as a Chinese guru, right, or a Chinese elder, very enlightened person here. Definitely enlightened. That's what I feel like. They know a lot about the world and energy work, energies per se. So he could exist fully alive and everything in the quantum field somewhere. And for an Aquarius, this could actually be doable, right? I believe you would think, oh, why not? But most people, they would just, what are you talking about? He's dead already, right? He died 10 years ago, or 20 or 50 years ago. You can't do that. But this one is definitely doing something. And the reason is because she has chosen, like the one she wants to give her heart to is one or only one who can do this. I don't know if that is a part of Aquarius, that that on a collective scale, one of the reasons why you sometimes are seen as a rebellion, or that you can be quite fixed or stubborn in your ways, perhaps, Aquarius, is because you're defending something. That you defend something, right? You defend your right to go the way towards what it is that you feel has the right tune to it. It has to sound right, smell right, taste right. There has to be something that is in the right manner. And it can be something that most of the world doesn't understand, because they accept the world as it is. But you, Aquarius, you do not necessarily do that, right? You are prepared to, like, say, I'm out of here, right? I leave the building because this, like, I go where it feels right here for me. I don't want people to take bites of my heart here. Or I don't want to waste my heart or my time or my effort or anything on something that doesn't work, right? So I'm looking for the real deal. Another thing about Aquarius that I love tremendously is, like, being straight to the point. Like, why even think about manipulating or something? We know it's not working, right? For an Aquarius, it's just like it's a done deal, right? Let's get real, let's get honest, let's get to the point, let's see if we can get the real deal here, right? The real deal, and the real deal actually takes that we are honest, but the honesty can sometimes be a bit brutal, right? So we may need to face that as well, also as an Aquarius, that the way we can bring forth something can sometimes be a bit brutal in other people's ears. And again, I recognize it. Aquarius would say, well, if they can't take it, well, it's not for me. And probably it's right. That's what I feel like. It's like, if they can't take what I'm saying, what I stand for, what's me, I turn my back to it. It won't work, right? Aquarius is prepared to offer the truth, how they feel, how they see things. If you can't handle it, too bad, right? So what I'm looking at here is like it is a kind of a love story. So I see almost that, again, it could be that she would rather wait. Like, this could be an Aquarius that is prepared to wait. I'm prepared to wait until the right one appears here. Otherwise, because it will be a waste of time. I have already figured this out. Dating doesn't work. People don't get it. I meet a Leo, and they can also have shine and charisma and all things going for them and everything, but it's not working because they are in a different place. They are a Leo, but in a third dimension. I'm looking for someone who embraces so much more here. That's actually the story here that I have. And maybe that's why you are like you are, Aquarius. It's like there are certain standards that are just not debatable. If you can't bring this to the table, you're not for me, right? I turn my back to it here, right? You're not for me. The one I'm looking for who can actually embrace this, or is willing, to have like real, true, honest discussions about what this means, and how to figure out how to have a relationship like that. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? Can I deliver? Can I be the giver, or can I be involved in that? Can you be involved in it? Can we figure this out, right? At least someone who is willing to do that from an awakened, enlightened perspective here. It feels a little bit like, for whom I'm reading for, it's that's the theme. And with this, the soul retrieval and the time master, I would even say it could be you're trying to awake this inside yourself, that you want to heal a part of yourself, that you want to heal your own masculine energy, perhaps. You want to enlighten yourself, meaning that the soul retrieval is like, can be information. So you draw information in that actually gives you access to more knowledge than you've had before. And the more you get of that, the richer you are. You could say that if this is a part of you, you may have Leo somewhere else in your chart, Aquarius. Maybe you have a Leo rising, or you have a Leo moon, or a Leo Mars, or Leo Venus, or something, and you wanna repair that, right? Like a feeling that it's a way of becoming whole, right? It's if you feel like you may have had an energy like this in you, but it's not working. Like it's not you don't get the results you want, right? You don't get the results you want in life. And most of us, we somehow feel separated from something. Usually we can find a lot of info in the shadow. So perhaps your moon energy, right? That you can look at that one. If you have a Leo moon, for instance, then I want to say it could be that there's something about that it's maybe it has no confidence. That's why it ended up becoming a moon energy, right? That the confidence is not there. That you don't trust in yourself. You got lost in that feeling, right? Because the soul retrieval card is like we are drawing something back that was once, that we kind of lost. When you look at the front picture of these readings, you see this like darker kind of ball that kind of explodes, and we see all these pieces that kind of gets fluttering around the air there, right? That's how you can see it can be understood as a soul fragmentation. That when we experience something that is so overwhelming to our psyche that we have no way of dealing with it, there can be a talk about like a soul fragmentation, like that there is some kind of explosion that happens, and it some of these fragments don't necessarily automatically come back. So something may have happened, right? Something may have happened here. We could see this also like fragmentations, right? Fragments of your soul or your heart here that is missing, right? Or you're looking at it and you have realized that they're missing. So to get them back and to heal that heart here so that you can stand with a heart like this, you need the soul retrieval, right? Again, it's like tapping into a time that was, where the problem started, where the explosion happened, and kind of just taking the pieces back to you, right? But normally in a linear fashion, people will think that, but that happened once. So I can't go back. Sorry, I can't go back and fetch them. But actually you can. You can do that. It may take a time, it may take a while, because again, there's a reason why it fragments. When you get a piece back, usually you also get the feeling attached to that fragment, why it ended up there in the first place. So sometimes we have to go through some of these emotions to integrate that piece. To integrate it, you need to go through the emotions. But I want to say how he comes across here today, and with this card, that where he sits with a beautiful, vibrant heart here, that is very passionate and with a lot of charisma and wisdom, and this card that almost got destroyed, that I had to kind of bandage it together. I want to say it seems like that you have managed to do something at least. And you are quite determined that this is the one you want to give your attention to. Like if you want to devote yourself to someone, it should be this one, right? Like getting Osiris back. That was the prime. And again, Iris set herself on this journey. She had no idea if she would succeed. But her love for him overshined it. Like that was her compass. That was the, and of course you could say perhaps also her grief, right? She couldn't live with the idea of not having tried, at least. And that's what I think is here. Like it's like I can't live with the idea of not having tried everything to get him back, or to get in touch with him, or to repair that side of me, or something like that. It feels a little bit like the way that she can communicate with him here is maybe in meditation. Like in meditation, he could be quite clear here, that she can see him, right? That's what I feel like. It's quite a love story, I want to say, Aquarius. But when I look at it from a more collective view, and this idea that the way, what I know about Aquarius, my Mars is in Aquarius, my Sun is Aquarius, it's like there are certain standards that, like, they are just not for debate, right? It's like it's undebatable. There are so many other things that Aquarius can accept, and they have nothing to do with superficiality. Like it's like we take that veil away here. Let's be real, right? Let's get all this clutter out of the way, and let's have a real conversation. A true, real, honest, raw conversation, right? Where I tell you the truth of how I see things, and you tell me the truth of how you see things. And then we figure out if we can somehow work together. But all this other clutter, let's get it out of the way. It's just, yeah, clutter and disturbance and noise somehow. I don't see necessarily Aquarius as a big, like a talker of emotions. I don't connect Aquarius with that. But when it comes to romantic relationship, when it comes to the base, the home, the feeling of security, like the emotional security of the base, the home, I do think there are standards. Like it's my son doesn't speak about emotions often, but I do know that they matter. I do know that they matter for him. And he will close his mouth if people don't like him and they judge him and all this stuff. He will prioritize when to speak and when not to. And then he will just, as she does, turn her back to it and walk away from it. Others would fight for their right and their voice and everything. Here I just see him like, or her like, it's not worth it. There are certain things that I may not have many requirements about other things in life, but this I do have, right? Like this is like the covenant, like the most precious, and that's not for debate. That's what I feel like is here. Whether I can say it's collective, you need to help me, Aquarius, if I'm right here, right? But or if I'm on the right path. But it's like there are certain standards that are, and even in the Sagittarius reading, there was something similar as, and well, to get the full story, you have to go all the way back to, well, or maybe all the readings, but at least from the Virgo and then forward. It's like from the Virgo, everything shifts. And I have seen it a bit like, well, in astrology, we talk about that there are ages. There are ages of the earth. That the age, that the, and well, if we believe the scientists, Earth has existed for billions of years, and we haven't physically, we haven't seen what has happened to the Earth. But somehow I feel like there is a DNA remembrance of something. It's delivered with our DNA somehow. And if that's the fact, then because Earth has gone through these different ages where at some point Aries was, you could say, it was the age of Aries. And Earth was in that age experiencing, well, Aries is the beginning. So we could say that Aries could be the time where everything was built, right? Where everything was created. And when you look at the Kundalini or the Aries reading, I talk about Kundalini. It's fire energy, steamy, hot, like from the Big Bang, right? We know, if you have studied that, that the Earth in the beginning, it was one big flamey lava planet. There was no water. Right? It was recovering from this Big Bang and the swirling dust that finally created a mass and so on. So if you go back to maybe you can find a bit of information. I just feel like it's a kind of a memory, right? That we all carry this. It's in our subconscious somehow. And I believe it's also the driver of our fantasies. All the movies that has been created, from the beautiful love romances to the zombie movies. I believe it's all a part of a memory. And that's what I feel like. When unconditional love was done on Earth, when it no longer existed, it tore something apart. Maybe that's where the third dimension was created. Maybe that's where Earth regressed into the third dimension. Because either something was or it wasn't. You know, like, I don't know, I'm just speculating, but let me know what you think, right? It's just, I feel there has been this, like an ongoing message through the readings, at least since the Virgo reading, that that something was destroyed. And because of that, after that, something changed. The Libra reading, I talk about the yin aftermath. In the Scorpio reading, I talk about the yang aftermath of that destruction. Sagittarius, it's something about finding a higher meaning, connecting with God instead of material wealth. You see, so there's this development going on because of some kind of destruction, realizing that life is now different, and to find meaning and consistency and value or virtue or meaning, like Earth went through a growth period. And some of us remember. And of course, let's say, Aquarius, you are then the scientist that comes in and says, okay, we have to fix this then. Right? Let's go back and fix this. Let's go back and get this back then. If it was destroyed, well, first people would, or the Earth would yield to this. And now I have the story of Ganymede and Prometheus, if you know about these two. When something vital happens, usually people or humans here, I don't know if we can talk about the planet in accordance to, or in relationship to the other planets, I don't know. But usually two things happen, or one of two things happen. Either if something destructive and massive comes in and is more powerful than you and destroys something or takes over, either you become the yielding acolyte, means that you bow to it and you follow the instructions, right? Or you become the Prometheus. Either you become Ganymede, that becomes the yielding acolyte, or you become Prometheus, which becomes the rebellion that fights against the dominating matrix, you know. Usually either of these two happen. In this case, I feel like something was it was lost once, and there was an aftermath where you could say all of our DNA somehow should figure out how to respond to this destruction. Internally in you, perhaps, because something has definitely happened here. If not, if you haven't gotten to a total powerful destructive heartbreak yet, you definitely have a DNA memory inherited here from ancestors. But you see the point of it, like either you yield to something or you protest, right? And I feel like after that there has been these ages that we where the yin had to adapt, the yang had to adapt, and figuring out how to deal with this pain somehow. Sagittarius seeks God, and Capricorn becomes very devoted to finding a new compass. And you, Aquarius, you say, yeah, but why don't we just fix it like an engine, right? Why don't we just fix it then? But that's not how we understand time, right? The time makes it impossible to go back and get it. But you, Aquarius, you would say, why? Why can't we find a way to go back? That must be possible. bending time, right? Or thinking in a way to somehow retrieve stuff. The knowledge is there. The knowledge is out there. We just have to tune in and get it. Then we can draw it back, right? That would definitely be Aquarius. You are the sign that is connected with the cosmos, the future scientific new explorations and science, right? You would think in the terms of, well, we just fix it then. We get it back. We haven't quite gotten to it, right? But at least we are talking about it in the world, right? We haven't fixed it. But the point here is that someone is trying to. This one is trying to. She's trying to have the conversation here with this one. Whether it's possible to actually revive a living person here like that, maybe it's not possible, but in meditation she can talk to this one. Or in dream state or flow state or something. She can have contact with this one. And maybe she'd rather prefer that. Like again, as I said in the very beginning, she rather wants to prefer her somewhat broken heart here or somewhat injured heart here to this guy here. She would rather offer it to him, right, than anyone else. Again, I have this feeling of Osiris and Isis, that there is a standard, and that's just how it is. So it's almost like no one else can fit, no one else can do this. No one else is worthy of my heart here. It must be the right tune, frequency, sound, smell. You know, it must be it doesn't really matter maybe what they look like here. But the heart must be right. It has to be the right heart frequency, or that's what I feel like here. Someone is very occupied with finding an antenna somehow that can find this guy here. Because if we think about this guy, and we think about unconditional love, it has a certain frequency. It vibes at maybe more of the 5D vibration. So it means that you can't still not quite find it here. Maybe in a guru in India. But you know what I mean, right? It's rare. It's not something you can just go on a dating site and find. So to find this guy, you may need to tap into a different dimension to have a conversation with him. To feel him. To feel his presence. Or maybe you are one of those chosen ones who can actually draw that energy to Earth. Meaning that you're raising the vibration. What you're trying to do is raise the vibration. You wanna draw this guy in from the fifth dimension. You wanna draw him in, so he is here on Earth. It's like drawing in a Jesus energy. The third dimension is dualistic. Therefore, we have conditional love. The fifth dimension is not dualistic. It has been taken away again. And I think it's because this gets restored. It's just not here yet. But this gets restored with the fifth dimension. At least that's one of the energies that gets restored, you could say. I don't know what you think, but So either you are aware of it, did you try to draw in the Jesus energy or hold it within yourself, right? As I said, it can be an inner process as well, a sense of wanting to heal you somehow. You have given up on the dating, right? You know that it's not possible here. It's not possible. And again, Aquarius, you could be very good at this, right? You just push hope aside. There's no hope for something. I hope that one day I will meet the prince on the horse. Nah, not really, right? That's probably not how you will try to do stuff. You kind of push it aside and think, okay, how do I get it then? Well, I know it's. I think, Aquarius, you know it's there. You know there's so much out there that we can tap into. And it's just a matter of time. Then we can draw, then it can actually come back. When more and more people wake up to a spiritual journey, they start drawing stuff back. Because deep down we all want to heal this, right? We don't like the conditional love. We want to heal this. So that is the reason why this one is doing what she's doing here. That's the reason. It's because she hates it. Like, she doesn't like it, right? It's uncomfortable. All these woundings, you could say, or the misfitting that she has experienced, that it doesn't fit right. It's not right. And somehow it also tells me that you could be the holder of unconditional love, actually, also, or you are definitely a receiver of it. That potentially you can be a receiver that draws him in here. Maybe you're doing this subconsciously, you don't even know it. Maybe you are doing this consciously. Because you miss someone. The one you're calling for here is a particular someone. And I think it's like, again, it's this idea that you remember. I don't know if I'm all lost in this, but there's this, like, an idea of remembering something that has been different once. And then something happened here, right? And it changed everything. So it's this idea of, I want to fix it. It must be possible to fix it. It's almost this idea of like E.T. phone home, right? I sit here and I need contact with something. So how do I establish that kind of contact to this one here? Yeah, this is what I have. I don't know what else I can say here. Is there one more thing we can add to this? Something I haven't said. 4 of Ariel, I get here. So it says, when you give, you also receive. Being resistant to change, extremes in how you save and spend money. Okay. This is like a worrying card. Worrying. Somehow I get the feeling it's more like a worrying about whether you will succeed in this. I had before I sat down and did your reading here, I felt this reading of like, or the need somehow to like prepare. I have to prepare myself, like for a journey. you go traveling. I have to think about everything. I have to think of all the steps. So I'm cautious about like doing this right, or making sure that I have considered everything. Like a worrying about maybe that you can do this, a worrying about if this is something that happens in meditation, or like an inner work you are doing. It could be this idea that I don't know what I'm retrieving back here, right? That every time I retrieve something, or if I start retrieving, what does that actually mean? What is coming back then? And how can I make sure that it comes back in a pure form, that it has not been mixed with someone else's stuff, or that it has been, polluted out there. Like retrieving something is, I want to retrieve what's mine, but what if I don't like what I retrieve, right? What if when this one comes back, he's not like my imagination, right? He's not what I wanted, or he's not what I remember. So I have to do things right, almost like a ritual. Like I have to do these, steps here. And I want to say, like soul retrieval. Please get assistance for that, right? Someone who is helping you. Like they if this is a shaman or a healer or someone, that they make sure that they have a very cleansed space, and there can be certain rituals for this. You call in protection, and you set up crystals, and you make sure you have the right round for this, right? When you give, you also receive. So even if you give something to someone who seems ruthless and in no way wants to reciprocate anything to you, just lean into the fact that the reciprocity may not come from that person. It may come from somewhere else, right? So if you are a kind, giving person here on earth, and the one you give to, they are not really that, as I said, you have learned that it's maybe not reciprocated in the way you hoped for. Just know that you will be paid back, you could say, or you will get something back. It may not just be from those you had expected it from, right? It could be from another source. It talks about being resistant to change. Well, this is one of your big ones, right, Aquarius? Like this idea of changing or taking something new in, or accepting something new is maybe not, as I said, it's like there are these standards, and like my way or the highway, kind of. So the resistance to change can actually block you from like becoming more in tune with what it is that you actually do want. If you stay the same, things stay the same. If you stay the same, things stay the same. If you want change, you need to accept change. So if this is a part of you that you are retrieving back, this can be someone who is very wise, and as I said, but they can also be joyous. They can be funny, this one. They can, maybe you, if this is a soul retrieval and you get a part of this one back here, I want to say it's like maybe you suddenly have a feeling you want to go and do something crazy, or again the fire here, right? The fire wants to do something, or maybe not crazy, but you want to do something that you normally don't do, right? Normally you don't do this, and it may sound a bit off, but when you actually do it, it's pretty fun, right? It's actually quite fun, and you meet fun people and something like that, right? So that can be one part. When, like the retrieval, when something is retrieved, we don't know how it is retrieved. Just suddenly it's like something feels different. It feels different in you. So there can be this, like a change that wants to come in. Suddenly you have different emotions, or you, as I said, you feel this like desire to do something you haven't done in a long time, or you have never done. And maybe you have a bit of resistance to, what is this? Why do I feel like this, right? But it's because something is trying to manifest back here. Yeah. And I had that feeling in the beginning. Like I went around my apartment, like putting things in the right order, making sure I would not be disturbed, like there are certain things that needs to be right somehow before trying to get this one back, or try to retrieve something back here. And I think there's an awareness about this. Because you stand in a self-loving energy, and to retrieve stuff back, we must make sure that it's actually clean, right? That we if we want to take it into our awareness and face it, it must be eatable, right? Somehow. We don't want something toxic come back in here and pollute us. The healers and the shamans, they do rituals about cleansing the space, calling in the helpers from the north and south and east and west, and they make sure there's a flame, right? They make sure there's some kind of fire. Some use crystals and put up a protective kind of shield. They call in all kinds of helpers to hold a space for that kind of retrieval. And maybe I'm not saying I don't know anything about how that works actually. I know that because I have had soul retrieval myself, but someone helped me with that, right? And I think it's important to get help for that one. If you are wondering about something like this, it is a kind of like a bending of time, or this idea that this can be fixed. The idea that time is not linear. It's almost like you know this, Aquarius. This is not what you learn. When you grow up, you are told that time is linear. But somewhere in you, if someone actually tells you, no, time is not linear, it's a loop, you would say, yeah, of course it is. That makes sense. That would make sense to you, right? And you are one of the few who could actually understand that, just like that. So I feel like I'm talking to someone who is into some kind of time thing, like not wanting to accept quite the existence of time. and the clock and the concept of time is kind of, I hear, obsolete for Aquarius. It's like an old way of thinking about existence. Like there is no time in that sense. It's just something we, the human ego, has designed to control our life somehow, to divide our life. But in a cosmic sense, there is no real time concept. And you become the time master when you understand this, if you can embrace that concept. You know that something is not really done. Like it, you can somehow go back to it. That's at least what I think I see from the reading here. It's a bit strange perhaps, but I think you get it, Aquarius, right? Okay, so this is what I got. I send you my very best out there. Yeah, I'm not good at short readings, 1 hour, 21 minutes. But this is what I got for you. I hope this helped, or that you liked it somehow. Give me a thumbs up if you did. And just take care of yourself. Bye-bye.